What the heck is up, everybody? Louis back here again after a nice little break. UFC Vegas 74. Kai Kara France, don't blink, taking on Amir the Prince ALBAZI at flyweight. It's been a long time since we had a flyweight main event. I'm excited. Kai Kara France is coming into this matchup off of a tough loss against Brandon Moreno for the interim title. He's at number 3. Amir ALBAZI's at number 7, coming off an impressive finish as well. And Moreno is fighting Pantoja for the title. Brandon Royval is right in the title mix too, so should be interesting. Co-main event, Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres taking on Daniel Pineda at featherweight 145. You know, Pineda had a little bit of a rough patch, but he's coming off of a very exciting and brutal finish. And Alex Caceres coming off of that brutal head kick knockout. Caceres number 15, Daniel Pineda trying to get squeezed into those rankings, or if he can get one over on Alex, he's right in the rankings at featherweight, just like that. So, decent stakes there. Also, you got Jim Miller taking on short notice replacement Jesse Butler. Should be interesting. Jim Miller has the most UFC fights of all time. Also, you got Tim Elliott making his return after over a year-long layoff at flyweight, taking on up-and-comer Victor Altamirano. Should be fun. Also, you got Andre the Pitbull Arlovsky on the card. So, let's get right into it here. We got some good fights. First fight of the night at 205 pounds, men's light heavyweight, Felipe Lins taking on Maxim Grishin. Lins took on Ovince St. Preux his last fight. In the first round, he was able to rock him with the step-in straight left and then a flurry of hooks, and then just knocked him out. So, yeah, quick work for him in that one. Before that, he took on Marcin Prachnio in the first round. He crowds him, and then he goes for the clinches him. Whenever he gets pressed, he's able to complete the double leg off the fence, hangs around the back, doesn't do a ton with it, but then he loses distance. He closes distance with some step-in jabs, and he'll force the clinch. Yeah, I'm just trying to keep his hands on him. Second round, he just kind of wings wildly, some hooks in the pocket, then he'll go to the clinch. He lands a right to the body and then a jab to the head at range. He lands a short hook, and then he'll throw some tinies to the head, just kind of rip those off. Then in the third round, he misses some of those wide hooks. But he's able to get the takedown with the body lock. Able to put one hook in. Doesn't do a ton with it though, but he's able to threaten that back take. Then back on the feet, he just fires some 1-2s, and he shoots and clinches whenever he gets tired, just kind of lunges towards him. He was getting pretty tired toward the end there, both guys were. Then Maxim Grishin took on William Knight his last fight. William Knight missed weight by 15 pounds for that fight. In the first round, he just kind of landed some inside leg kicks at range, landed a nice head kick. Not a whole lot going on there. In the second round, he landed a right cross at range. He's able to defend the clinch attempts from Knight, but then he gets picked up and fireman's carried. But then he's kind of able to reverse the position and get on top for the rest of the round. So, yeah, it was just William Knight's a ball of muscle, so it was a weird position. Then in the third round, he's able to defend the high crotch attempt. Gets the clinch, but then he gets taken down with a single leg trip. But then he's able to escape whenever William Knight tries to pass the full mount. And then back on his feet, he drops him with the right cross right at the end. Put the icing on the cake. Solid performance from Maxim Grishin against the guy that's way bigger. Grishin minus 135, Felipe Lins plus 115. Kind of going back and forth, but I just think Maxim Grishin has the cardio to go 3 rounds. I think Felipe Lins is going to have a very explosive first round. I think he might do some damage to Maxim Grishin, but I think Maxim Grishin can weather the storm. I think he can use his length. He can use he's a little bit bigger, I believe. And I think in the grappling, if he's going to be able to stuff the grappling attempts of Felipe Lins, he'll be able to stuff a takedown, might even be able to score, get around Felipe Lins' back. The line's in 2 wide. I'm going to go with Maxim Grishin here, minus 135. Not bad. Start the night off right. Second fight of the night at 135 pounds. Men's bantamweight, Damone Blackshear taking on LACERDA. 2 up-and-comers trying to get a win here. Damone Blackshear took on Farid Basharat his last fight. In the first round, he gets a snatch single, but he's not able to finish. And then he'll kind of walk into some jabs and some hooks, but then he gets taken down with the single. He tries to use the butterfly sweep. Can't quite get it, but at least he's moving on the ground. Then the second round, he lands a jab and then level changes to the body lock, but he gets the takedown for a second. Can't do anything with it though. But then he landed a jump knee, and then he's able to get around the back, and he pulls him down with 1 hook in on the mat. Lands some ground and pound, but then back on the feet, he just kind of gets blasted up out of nowhere. So interesting. Then in the third round, he lands some lead left hooks. He takes a knee, but he's able to land some jabs off of that knee, so he'll take one and give one. But then he gets double underhooks, but then he gets taken down with the body lock from that situation. Then he gets pressured with some straights into the fence, but his double attempt gets stuffed, then he gets pancaked. Goes for the triangle. He's very close to finishing this triangle. 10 more seconds, he would have had it, but time expired. So yeah, very explosive in certain moments. Has fight-ending potential. LACERDA took on Cody Stamann in his last fight. In the first round, he lands some body and leg kicks at range. He lands some jabs, but then he eats some counter hooks whenever he's coming in towards him. Then in the second round, he lands a left hook to the body, and he lands a jab and a straight in the pocket. But then he gets countered with some head and body hooks. And then he gets countered with some straight shots and some hooks to the body again whenever he's coming in. But then he's able to return a couple of those body shots and really puts his weight on them and rips the body. Then in the third round, he lands a step-in 1-2. And then he's able to complete the takedown, the double off the fence. He tries to go for the front guillotine. He can't hold it. But then he hurts him with a body kick right at the end of the fight. So, yeah. Pretty good. He was hanging in the whole time. Both guys are dangerous. Both guys have explosive moments. LACERDA minus 150. BLACKSHEAR plus 130. It's a toss-up for me. I'm going to go with BLACKSHEAR mostly because of the odds. But I think BLACKSHEAR is going to be a little faster. I think he's going to have a little more volume. In LACERDA, it just looked like it took him a while to get going against Stamann. And LACERDA did have his moments. He had that powerful body kick. I just don't know how much it's going to affect him on BLACKSHEAR. I think BLACKSHEAR is going to be able to out-wrestle him and just keep working him. I could see Damone winning 2 rounds. Maybe Luan wins the third one. But I'm going to go with BLACKSHEAR here. Minus 130. I like that. All right. Third fight of the night at 115 pounds, women's strawweight. Elise Reed taking on Jinh Yu Frey. Both ladies just need to get a win here. So Reed took on Luke Bunmi her last fight. In the first round, she blitzes in the pocket. Then she eats an overhand when she's coming in towards her. But she initiates the body lock, but then she gets taken down with the back trip. But then she's able to utilize the half guard sweep, and she's able to take her back and land some ground and pound to end the round. Like seeing that. She's never out of it. She can always find a way to get top position. Then in the second round, she misses the overhand, and she gets mat returned, and then she gets submitted with the rear naked choke. So she did all that work in the first round for nothing, basically. Yeah. And then Jinh Yu Frey, she took on Poliana Viana her last fight. In the first round, she lands some 1-2s, but then she keeps eating counter hooks and just gets knocked out. I did not want to move her head, so I don't know what that was about. Then before that, she took on Vanessa Demopoulos. In the first round, she lands a counter straight left in the pocket, but then she walks into a couple of hooks, and then she gets taken out in the blast double. Then in the second round, she walks into a right cross. Then she's able to stuff the double legs, and she landed a nice head kick. So, yeah, Jinh Yu Frey plus 110, Elise Reed minus 130. It's a toss-up. I'm going to go with a slight underdog, Jinh Yu Frey. I know she got knocked out her last fight, but who knows? I think maybe Jinh Yu Frey might be able to press the action a little bit more. I don't know. Low-level women's MMA, go to slight underdog. I'm going to go with Jinh Yu Frey plus 110. Fourth fight of the night at 155 pounds, men's lightweight. Jamie Mullarkey taking on short notice replacement Mohamed Naimov. Should be a fun one. Jamie Mullarkey took on Francisco Prado his last fight. In the first round, he gets a blast double right in the half guard, lands some elbows. He's able to get the mat return and keep him down. Nice work. In the second round, he's able to duck the hook, land an uppercut in the pocket, and then he lands a jab at range. And then he throws a straight right. He's able to land a counter left hook off of it. Then in the third round, he lands some step-in jabs to the body, but then he gets clipped with a counter hook whenever he's coming back out of range. He shoots the blast double from range, but then he gets reversed with the Kimura. But, yeah, had to control most of the fight and kept going after it. And then Mohamed Naimov, he took on Dylan Schulte his last fight. In the first round, he outside of the UFC, he's making his UFC debut. In the first round, he drops him with the head kick, gets back mount, TKO via ground and pound. Not much to see here, but impressive. And then before that, he took on, this wasn't tough enough, the promotion. Before that, he took on Sidik Mudiev. In the first round, he gets pressured back with some jabs and some 1-2s, and then he gets taken out the double off the fence right away. He lands some jabs and a cross, but then he gets pressured, gets rocked with a 1-2 at the end of the round. And then in the second round, he lands some leg kicks, but he eats some 1-2s at range, but then he's able to land a right cross counter, kind of shook him back a little bit. And then he gives up his back standing off of a jab, and then he gets mat returned. So, interesting. And then before that, he took on Andreas Ponce. Sorry, I kind of watch these out of order, but I just want to get some different fights from him. In the first round, he's able to down block the takedown attempt, gets his takedown right into full guard. But then he gets blast doubled off of a step in 1-2, but then he's able to reverse has a deep Kimura, almost rips the shoulder off, and then transitions to an arm triangle, gets a submission. So dude's pretty slick on the ground. He knows what he's doing. Mohamed Naimov is plus 360. Jamie Mullarkey's minus 450. Mohamed's taking his fight on about a week's notice. And, that line's kind of out of whack. Guess what? I'm going to go with Mohamed Naimov because last card, all those fighters came from other organizations on short notice and they all won. And this line is just too good to pass up. I think Jamie Mullarkey is the more solid fighter. And who knows how Mohamed's conditioning is going to be. But Mohamed's got submission. He's got a great submission game, I think. He can hit hard. He can take some shots. Jamie Mullarkey, he takes some damage. He's scrap. He's a guy that likes to take a lot of damage in his fights. He gets a little wild. So, plus 360, count me in. I'm going to go with Mohamed Naimov. Let's just roll the dice. Okay, let's see. What is this? Okay, the feature fight of the prelims, 135 pounds men's bantamweight, John Castaneda taking on UFC newcomer Moyan Gafurov. Castaneda, he took on Daniel Santos his last fight. In the first round, he gets cut off with some hooks and he gets doubled, but then he's able to pull the guillotine, uses that to get back to his feet. Really nice work. But then he drops him with a head kick and a hook. Doesn't land any ground and pound, and he drops him again with a straight left. Some minimal ground and pound. Can't hold him down very long, though. But then he eats a counter right whenever he's coming into the pocket, but then he forces the body lock. He's able to complete the back trip takedown. Can't do a lot, though. I bet back on his feet, he rocks him with the head kick, beautifully timed. Then in the second round, he gets the blast double. They get into a scramble. He's not able to hold the position. But then he gets pressured to the fence. He lands some hooks, and then he gets taken out with the double off of his kick. He gives up his back. But he's able to work back up to the feet. He eats a back fist, hits some hooks on the fence. He's able to land a head kick, though, on the retreat. Pretty nice. But then he eats a hook flurry to the head and the body, and then just gets knocked out with a brutal knee to the head. So, yeah, Daniel Santos is one of those guys that can take a lot of punishment. And John Castaneda just kind of blew his wad early, unfortunately. But he had some good moments. He hurt him, landed some big shots. He's got some power. Then Moyan Gafurov, he took on Diego Silva in LFA. In the first round, he catches the kick, and then he's able to get the takedown right into full guard. Doesn't do a ton with it, though. Back up on the feet, he catches a knee. He's able to complete the double leg off the fence. Then in the second round, he just kind of wings some wild hooks and some overhands. He's able to complete the double leg off the fence again, but he gets caught in a deep arm bar, almost snapped his arm. But then he's able to get out of it, and then he postures up, and he starts landing some heavy ground and pound toward the end of the round. Then in the third round, he gets a spinning back kick KO to the body. Spinning back kick to the body knocks him right out, shuts off his whole body, hit him in the liver. So, very interesting fight here, man, especially on short notice. Moyan Gafurov coming in short notice as well. Moyan is plus 120. John Castaneda is minus 140. I believe Moyan's a week or two notice as well. I'm going to go with Moyan Gafurov plus 120. Nice little profit there. John Castaneda, looking at the tape, I couldn't really tell who I thought the better fighter was. And John Castaneda, he seems like he does well in early rounds and kind of falls apart in the later stages of the fight. And I think Moyan Gafurov might be able to pressure him and just kind of keep him on the back foot there. I think he might be able to get some takedowns as well. Might be able to put him in some submission attempts. I don't know. So, I don't know. I'm just going to flip a coin, man. We'll see. Castaneda took some damage his last fight, so I'm going to go for Moyan Gafurov. Why not? He's got a fresh start in the UFC. He's got nothing to lose. So, okay. The co-main event of the prelims, 265 pounds men's heavyweight. Andre the Pitbull Arlovsky taking on Don'Tale Mayes. Andre Arlovsky, this is like his 40th fight or something crazy. I don't even know. But he needs a win here. He's looking for some redemption, trying to get back on track, trying to stake his claim to be the ultimate gatekeeper at heavyweight. He took on Marcos Rogerio de Lima his last fight. In the first round, he gets dropped with some wide hooks in the pocket, but then he's able to, and then he gets submitted with a rear naked choke on the fence. Not even a fight, really. Marcos was just way too explosive for him. What are you going to do? Before that, though, he took on Jay Collier, a very competitive fight. In the first round, he gets backed up with some overhands and some hooks, gets clinched to the fence, but then he eats some short counter hooks in the pocket, just kind of exchanging back and forth. Then the second round, he gets pressed with some short hooks, and then he gets clinched again. But then he's able to back out of range. He lands some counter overhand rights. And then he gets mat returned, but then he's able to get right back up. And, you know, he showed that he's not going to just take it lying down. So then in the third round, he lands some counter straights and overhands. Then he kind of circles out of range, but then he'll kind of get clipped a little bit, but he's not taking the full blunt of the strikes. But then he gets taken down at the end of the fight, throwing a back fist. So really stupid, but he still win a greasy split decision because that's what he does. So. Then Don'Tale Mayes, he took on Augusto Sakai his last fight. In the first round, his double attempt gets stuffed. He eats some knees from the front headlock position. Then in the second round, he gets pressured back with some overhands to the fence, and then he gets clinched with the underhook and just kind of gets pressed on against the cage. Doesn't look comfortable. Then in the third round, he lands some straight combos. Throws straight combos, but he misses a lot of them. Then he gets pressed to the fence, but then he tries to circle on the outside. He lands some straight lefts and a right hook, but cannot do much and just keeps getting bullied. Don'Tale Mayes, minus 135. Andrei Arlovsky, plus 115. Low-level heavyweights. Andrei Arlovsky is an underdog. I'm going to go for Andrei Arlovsky. He has way more experience than Don'Tale Mayes. Don'Tale Mayes, he just gets clinched and pushed up to the fence the whole fight. I mean, Andrei Arlovsky can do that. He's like the master of that. Just closing distance, landing some shots, closing distance, just keeping it a close fight, grinding on the guy, trying to wear him out. Don'Tale Mayes does not have cardio past the first round. I mean, he can make it, but it's very bad, and he drops off. So it's a no-brainer. I'm going to go for Andrei Arlovsky. And if they're going in there and swinging, Arlovsky can eat a shot if he has to. And Andre can crack a little bit too. So I'm going to go with Andrei Arlovsky. Really a no-brainer. The whole fight to go over 2.5 rounds, minus 190. No-brainer. Andrei Arlovsky by decision. Take that. I kind of learned my lesson last weekend, so I don't want to get crazy on the props. But Arlovsky by decision, I mean, yeah. What else? And if you want to get crazy and go for the split decision, go ahead. But Andrei Arlovsky by decision, plus 165. I would do that, but you don't got to get greedy. Andrei Arlovsky, he's going to get another win in the UFC. The main event of the prelims, 135 pounds men's bantamweight, Daniel Willie Cat Santos, a.k.a. Mini Oliveira, taking on Johnny Munoz. Santos took on John Castaneda his last fight. Kind of went over that one. Weathered the storm early, took some big shots, but ultimately was able to get a nasty knockout and came on strong in the second round. Before that, he took on Julio Arce in his UFC debut. In the first round, he pressures towards the fence, lands some lead hooks, lands a nasty elbow off the clinch break, but then he walks into some jabs when he's winging hooks. But then he's able to land some counter hooks and then followed up with the head kick whenever he's getting pressed against the fence. And then the second round, he just kind of walks into some jabs and head kicks whenever he's trying to cut him off on the cage. He's just so focused on pressuring him. He's kind of eating some shots. But then in the third round, he just kind of gets kept at range with jabs and body kicks. Can't really find his way in there. So, yeah, not his most exciting fight, but showed a lot of tenacity, but just kind of got outpointed, basically, out-volumed. And then Johnny Munoz took on Ludovic Sholinian his last fight. In the first round, he circles on the outside, pumps his jabs. He lands a step in 1-2, followed up with a hook. Nice combo. Then in the second round, he presses with some counter overhand rights and a 1-2. Then he clinches it to the fence. He's able to stuff the high crotch takedown. Then he tries to take the back, but he kind of slides off. But then he's able to defend the double leg against the fence, put up a good fight. And, didn't want to just accept the bottom position. Then in the third round, he gets the double off the fence, off of his overhand. Nice work. Nice way to take advantage of somebody overextending themselves and loading up. But then he gets pressured with some hooks, but then he's able to complete the last double off of a missed hook by Sholinian. So, yeah. Now, this line is bothering me. Daniel Santos minus 215, Johnny Munoz plus 185. I just really like Daniel Santos. I know he's a little wild, but I think he's going to be able to out-volume Johnny Munoz. I think he's going to be able to hit him with the bigger shots. Johnny Munoz just kind of seems like he was stuck in one gear, pretty much. And if you take Daniel Santos down, you know, he's going to have a plethora of submission attempts from his back. Might be a nightmare. The line's a little wide, but I think it's partly because of the hype. And, like, he is training under Charles Oliveira. He does have the same hair as him. So I might regret this one, but sometimes you got to lay the chalk. I think Daniel Santos is going to get it done. I think Munoz might take the first round on points. But I think Santos is going to come back and land some big shots in the second and third round. I'm going to go with Willie Cat. First fight on the main card, 170 pounds, men's welterweight. Abubakar Nurmagomedov taking on Zaleski dos Santos. Should be a fun one. Dos Santos has been out since October 2021. So should be interesting. Abubakar took on Omar Gadzhiev his last fight. In the first round, he gets blast doubled in the pocket, but then he's able to elevate sort of the butterfly, and then he reverses, but he gets put in a guillotine. But then he lands a little bit of ground and pound. Can't really do too much, though. Then the second round, he's able to complete the double leg off the fence off of Omar Gadzhiev's overhand attempt. But then he's able to stuff the takedown, gets a pancake position, take his back, gets both hooks in, but then he gets reversed, but then he's able to scramble right into full guard. Doesn't do a ton of damage, but he keeps fighting for the position. Then in the third round, he lands some jabs at range, and he drops down to a single. Doesn't do much. But then he lands a right cross whenever he gets pressed. So, you know, kind of slowed down a little bit. And the shots, the takedown attempts got a lot more telegraphed toward the end there. Then Zaleski dos Santos, he took on Benoit Saint Denis his last fight. In the first round, he pummels the clinch. He gets doubled off the fence, but he's able to pop right back up. I like that tenacity. But then he eats a head kick, but then he returns a straight right. He's able to stuff the double leg attempt, and then he lands a right hook counter off of his jab. Then the second round, he lands a right hook counter. He lands a knee off of a takedown attempt. And then he lands a flurry of hooks, rocks him with an overhand right as a counter, and then he gets taken out with the body lock trip off of a straight right, overextending himself, but then he gives up his back standing. And this was right at the time where this fight definitely should have been stopped because Benoit Saint Denis was out on his feet, and Dos Santos just completely gassed himself out because he gave everything he had because he should have been finished, but both those guys kept fighting through, so hats off to them. And I think it speaks even more to Dos Santos that he can blow his entire wad and then still compose himself to finish the fight and get a victory. Then in the third round, he rocks him with a step-in right hook. Then he pancakes him off a takedown attempt, gets on top. Back on the feet, he eats a head kick at range, but then he gets pressed and he eats some hooks, gets clinched, but fight was over. But yeah, that was kind of a travesty, to be honest with you. Well, he still got the victory. Pretty close line here. Zaleski dos Santos, minus 105. Abubakar Nurmagomedov, minus 115. This is a coin flip. The odds are irrelevant. I like Zaleski dos Santos. I don't like the layoff, but I think he's more versatile. I think he's got decent takedown defense. And like I said, Abubakar, his takedowns get sloppy and more telegraphed at the end of the fight. And I think Zaleski's got the power advantage a little bit. And I think Abubakar is just kind of going to be a little bit one-dimensional here. And whenever he gets stuffed on the takedown, he's just going to keep on shooting for those takedowns. Doesn't really use his wrestling to set up any strikes. So he doesn't really will fake and like punch him after he reacts to the fake. He's just kind of wrestling a lot. So, yeah. And I think Zaleski's going to be able to let it go, especially if he's down on the scorecards. You know, Zaleski's got them hands. He can let it go. So I like Zaleski here. The whole fight to go under 2.5 rounds plus 170, not a terrible play. I don't know, though. I just don't feel like the over's a little too much. But I like Zaleski dos Santos. Should be a fun one. Hope he gets back on track. Okay. Second fight of the main card at 125 pounds, women's flyweight, Karine Silva, continuing her reign of terror, taking on Ketlin Souza, making her UFC debut. Karine Silva took on Poliana Botelho her last fight. In the first round, she landed some jabs and body kicks at range, but then she drops her with a step-in right hook, lands some nasty ground and pound, pulls the Darce choke, gets a submission. There's not too much else to say. Karine Silva is a flash in the, not a flash in the pan. She is a jolt of lightning on the scene. Ketlin Souza took on Christina Williams her last fight. This was in Invicta. So it's for the championship, I believe. In the first round, she lands overhand right, and then she's able to get the underhook, go to the clinch. But then she gets taken out with the back trip off of the fence. But then in the second round, she lands a spinning back kick to the head. But then she gets taken down off of a back body kick. Excuse me. Kind of got a little fancy, didn't need to do that. But then she's able to transition from a triangle to the armbar attempt. Decent attempt. Then in the third round, she gets a double leg off of a 1-2 whenever she gets pressed. She lands an overhand right whenever she gets pressed, but then she eats some uppercuts as a counter. But then in the clinch, she's able to wizard kick and gets on top, lands some nice ground and pound. Solid way to finish out the fight. Ketlin Souza plus 185, Karine Silva minus 215. It's still low level. Women's flyweight. Ketlin Souza plus 185. It's a little wide of a line. I think Karine Silva's got the power advantage. I think she's a little faster, but Ketlin Souza, Ketlin Souza does make some bad IQ mistakes. Gets taken down off of spinning shit. But I don't know. I think Ketlin Souza can come here to scrap. I think she can maybe outpoint her and just kind of press the pace. Push the pace, and maybe Karine Silva isn't expecting it. I don't know. But plus 185, I'm going to go with Ketlin Souza. We'll see. Third fight on the main card at 125 pounds, men's flyweight. Tim Elliott back in action. Over a year since we've seen him last. Taking on Victor Altamirano. Tim Elliott, his wife cheated on him with his best friend. So, he really needs a win here. And I think this fight's going to be violent. Tim Elliott took on Tagir Ulanbekov his last fight last March. In the first round, he slips the jab, he forces the clinch, gets the double leg takedown off the fence, not able to hold him down right away, that's okay. But then he eats some jabs in a 1-2 at range when he's coming in, but then he gets the blast double, can't hold him very long though. But then he drops him with an overhand left at the end of the round. Kind of out of nowhere, man. Then the second round, he lands a jab and an overhand left counter, but then he walks into a double, but he's able to Granby out of it. And then he lands a right hook on the feet, right back in his face. And then he lands an overhook, and then he gets the step over body lock. Steps over the body lock attempt. But then he lands a short hook from the collar tie position. Then he'll just kind of rip the body when they're in the clinch in the pocket. Then the third round, he jabs, and then he rips the body inside the clinch. And then he gets taken out the single off the fence, and he gives up his back standing. Then he gets drugged down into a figure four and put in a rear naked choke attempt, but he held strong, didn't get submitted, didn't take a ton of ground and pound damage, and I thought he secured rounds 1 and 2. They were close. He certainly won the first round. I thought the second round was close, and that's kind of part of the game plan. So, I guess he gave up the third round. Don't really love it, but he survived enough, and that's part of fighting. And then Victor Altamirano, he took on Vinicius Salvador. I just noticed over the whole fight, he just kind of dips his head while he's shooting. So it could be something Tim Elliott could just exploit, like land a big, nasty uppercut or a knee. But then in the first round, he level changes the blitz, and then he gets a blast double right in a full guard. But then he eats some shots back on the feet. But he can't secure the snatch. He gets the snatch single, but he's not able to secure the takedown. Not able to finish it. But then the second round, he lands a back fist and then a blast double. Can't finish it, though. But then he keeps clinching. But then he gets taken down with a wizard kick. But gets back up, I guess. But then he eats some left hooks in the pocket. And then he lands a check hook and a head kick, though. So that was nice at the end of there. And then in the third round, he lands a jab and then a check left hook. And he's able to get the snatch single and finish that finally in the third round. So pretty good back and forth. Victor Altamirano is plus 155. Tim Elliott minus 180. Both guys are unorthodox. Both guys are tenacious. Both guys decent cardio. I mean, pretty good cardio. Both guys nonstop movement. So it should be really fun, man. I'm just going to go with Tim Elliott, not just because of everything with the divorce, but because I think, you know, against Bekov, he showed his veteranship. Yeah, he cheated a little bit with the glove grabs and landed some free shots, but that's part of it, man. And if the refs aren't going to call it, do it, man. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Also, yeah, Victor Altamirano, he dips his head every time he shoots, or he'll overstep whenever he throws a punch. I think Tim Elliott's going to be able to take advantage of that. I think he might be able to latch up a guillotine or something like that. And, you know, Tim Elliott said he's fired up. He's looking to knock somebody's head off. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. But I'm going to go with Tim Elliott here, man. I like it. I hope he gets on a comeback. And, you know, minus 180, not a bad price. The whole fight to go under 2.5 rounds, plus 210. Don't hate that. Flyweight unders could hit. And, yeah, they might just go to war. So I'm going to go with Tim Elliott. Featured fight of the main card at 155 pounds, men's lightweight. Jim A10 Miller in his 42nd UFC fight, taking on UFC newcomer Jesse Butler on 2 days' notice. Jim Miller took on Alex Hernandez his last fight. In the first round, he lands a head kick and he blitzes with some 1-2s. He eats some straights at range, though. But then he lands some counter left hooks over top of Alex's straights, and then he's able to land a nice head kick at range. Then the second round, he eats a right cross whenever he enters the pocket, though, but then he throws some right hooks, and he lands a straight left, and he's looking for some left hook counters from Alex's straight shots, but then he eats an elbow and some 1-2s whenever he's chasing him, trying to go for that hook, trying to go for that lead hook. Just kind of gets pieced up a little bit there. But then in the third round, he comes in with some lands a straight left, but then he eats a cross off of his leg kick, but then he walks into a jab. He keeps looking for those counter hooks over the top. But then he gets a leg sweep whenever Alex tries to throw a knee. Jim's able to sweep the leg out from under him, and he takes his back, has a decent rear naked choke attempt, but then Alex is able to turn into him with 10 seconds left to go and just kind of lands some ground and pound on top. But, yeah, man, he just could not quite get perpendicular with him, and Alex was able to get us back to the mat just like a little bit enough, but it was really good showing from Jim Miller. He almost finished that fight at the end there, so you can't really ever count him out. So yeah, good fight from him, man. And then Jesse Butler, he's UFC newcomer. He took on Luis Luna Fury. This Luis Luna in a Fury, who's coming from Fury, should be interesting. In the first round, he gets the high crotch crackdown, but then he gets caught in a head and arm guillotine, but then he's able to get up and get the outside trip takedown, but then he gets swept whenever he's passing the mount, and he tries to go for the triangle, but then he's able to utilize a knee bar pass, and he's able to come out the back and take the back. So in the second round, he gets a body lock and an outside trip into half guard, but then he gets shot to the fence. He gets his back taken, gets drugged down, but he's able to turn in a full mount, and then he's able to take his back and land some nice ground and pound. And then in the third round, he walks into an overhand and he eats a straight, but then he gets taken out of the double, but he's able to turn in off of the back take and reverse the position, keep scrambling. But then he gets swept whenever he's trying to take mount again against the fence, and he gives up his back, but he's able to keep scrambling. But then he's able to get up, and he's able to take the back and pull him down to the mat and just kind of finish it there. So really good scramble fest in that one, and yeah, he's pretty decent cardio over 3 rounds on it, I guess. Butler plus 195, Jim Miller minus 230. It's just kind of hard to tell with Fury, like, how he's going to do in the UFC. But Jesse Butler's taking his fight on literally 2 days' notice. He might be able to knock Jim Miller out. Jim Miller doesn't really get knocked out like that anymore. I think Jim Miller's going to have a heck of a first round. But if not, Jim Miller can get it done in the second round. I just don't see Jesse Butler. I don't know. I mean, it might be a giant upset. Who knows? But this price tag isn't enough. Not even plus 200 for Jesse Butler. I'm going to go up Jim Miller here. Very well-rounded fighter. Hits hard. Good submission threat. Good wrestling. You know, Jesse Butler can scramble. Doesn't accept positions. But I think Jim Miller is going to be able to just hold him down. So I'm going to go with Jim Miller. Hope he wins and breaks a record for most wins. Co-main event of the evening at 145 pounds. Men's featherweight, Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres taking on Daniel Pineda. Should be violent. Alex Caceres, number 15. Daniel Pineda is coming for that ranking. Should be interesting here. I think it's like more of a stay busy fight for Caceres because he coming off a great knockout, but fun fight. Caceres took on Julian Erosa his last fight. In the first round, he lands some leg kicks. And then he's a spin kick and then to the back. A spinning back kick to the body, excuse me. But then he lands an uppercut and a left hook and then a 1-2 combo. But then he pulls him into a left jab and then a left head kick on the same side and knocks him out. So yeah, that was devastating. Before that, he took on Sadiq Youssef. In the first round, he gets the body lock trip. He tries to take the back, can't secure it. But then he lands his body kick gets caught whenever he gets taken down, but then he's able to get right back up. But then he lands a step in left cross. He's able to slip the hook. He landed a left hook, and then he circles on the outside, but then he kind of gives up his back standing. Doesn't give up any damage or anything, though, or a choke. Then in the second round, he lands an overhand left, just kind of skirts the fence. But then he eats some inside leg kicks at range, and then he gets desperate, and then he lunges. He's lunging over with his straights and just misses them. And part of that because he's taking damage to his legs. Then in the third round, he lands a left uppercut to the body and then an overhand to the head. But then he gets pressed back with some leg kicks. But then he's able to eat a counter right hook off of his jab. But then he eats a counter right hook off of his jab. Not able to eat a hook, but yeah. But, you know, he was throwing, and it was that inside leg kick was really slowing him down. So, unfortunate, but, I mean, it was competitive, you know. The rounds were close. Daniel Pineda took on Tucker Lutz his last fight. In the first round, he lands a leg kick, and he's able to get the body lock trip off of a 1-2. Can't hold him down very long, though. But then he stands at range. He kind of gets clipped with some straights. Doesn't take the full force of them, but he's just kind of cool with eating some shots, I guess. But then he eats some 1-2s off of his leg kicks. But then he's able to drop him with the counter right hook in a pocket exchange. Then in the second round, he's able to stuff the double leg attempt on the fence. He gets into the front headlock position, and then he drops him with the knee to the head, and then he pulls the guillotine. And then he goes into mount, and he hips in and has a high elbow guillotine, just pulls it, and gets a submission. Very well done. And he really took advantage of that front headlock and landed some nasty knees. And Daniel Pineda is dangerous everywhere. Daniel Pineda, plus 160. Alex Caceres, minus 190. Yeah. If Daniel Pineda doesn't knock him out or submit Alex Caceres in the first round, I don't think he's going to. Pineda is not going to submit Alex Caceres. You know, Alex Caceres is going to be able to stay at range, stay long, keep him off with the front kicks. Daniel Pineda is really going to have to load up and rush in, and I think Caceres will be able to catch him with some jabs or some crosses when he's coming in. And then if Pineda does rush in at him, you know, Caceres might be able to hit like a shuck by or something like that and get on his back. And I just think Caceres is too slick for him. Price isn't bad, minus 190, don't hate it. Submission for Alex Caceres, plus 450, don't hate it. Bruce Leroy. Finally, the main event of the evening, 125 pounds, men's flyweight, Kai Kara France, don't blink, number 3, taking on Amir the Prince Albazi at number 7. Should be a fun one. If Amir wins this, especially if it's impressive, he's right there for a title shot. Now you got Brandon Royval in there as well, so maybe those two could fight. And if Kai wins, he's just trying to get back on track. Had a competitive fight for the interim title with Moreno, but got finished with that kick to the body, shut off his liver. So, lost by knockout. But he's just trying to, like, show everybody, hey, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be top 5 in this division. And I'll fight for the title again one day. So, I think it's a good fight for each guy. I would say a must-win for each guy. So, Kai Kara France took on Brandon Moreno, his last fight for the interim title. In the first round, he circles along the outside. He gets pressed with the left hook, though. But he lands a slide-in overhand right. He's able to stuff the single leg attempt. He's pretty good at stuffing those takedowns from wrestlers or people that are heavy on wrestling, like Askar Askarov. Like, he can, you know, if your game plan is just to wrestle him, it's going to be a long night. Then in the second round, he misses the head kick and he goes up his back, but then he's able to break free, and he lands some leg kicks and he backs out of range, and he looks for like some counter right crosses, but then he gets clipped with a short hook to the head and the body off of his leg kick. Just kind of gets clipped, but he's able to kind of circle away from most of the power. Then in the third round, he's able to catch the body kick, sweep in the ground and pound. Oh, catches the body kick, and then he's able to trip the leg right into ground and pound. But then he lands a step in, uppercut to the body, and then a counter 1-2 off of Moreno's hook. Then he grabs a single, he eats the back fist, and then he gets dropped with the body kick, hit him in the liver, and then just gets TKO'd. So pretty interesting setup for Moreno. Eats that back fist, then eats that left kick to the liver. So what are you gonna do, man? He was looking pretty competitive up until then, though. So yeah, man, Moreno is just different. Amir Albazi took on Alessandro Costa his last fight. He was not a ranked opponent. In the first round, he's able to stalk, land some nice stiff jabs. He clinches, and then he shoots to the fence. Can't really get anything going. And then in the second round, he drops him with a blitz and a 1-2 right into full guard. Lands some ground and pound, not a ton. Then in the third round, he lands a leg kick, and then a blast double. And then he lands a step in right, and then an uppercut in the pocket. And gets the knockout right away. So from one big shot. So yeah, man, he's got show-stopping power. So should be fun. Then before that, he took on Francisco Figueiredo. In the first round, he walks into some body kicks, but then he catches the low kick, and then he's able to get the leg sweep into full guard, and then he postures up, lands some hard ground and pound, makes him pay. Then he eats a short left. Then back on the feet, he eats a short left, but then he's able to get the clinch, complete the outside trip right into half guard. He's able to defend the leg lock attempt, able to take his back, gets a rear naked choke submission. So yeah, he's got a knockout and a submission. Guy can do it all. Amir Albazi minus 115, Kai Kara-France minus 105. Again, a toss-up. I just like the experience of Kai Kara-France better. You know, this is Amir's first, like, elite opponent at flyweight, I would say. You know, and we'll see. Is Kai going to fall off? Maybe. I don't think so. I think he's right in his prime. I think Moreno is special. And I think Kai is going to work even harder to get back up there. And I think it's going to be a competitive fight. And Amir, if he's going to want to grapple with Kai, Kai has really good takedown defense. So, and then I think it kind of plays out as a striking battle. And we'll see who's crisper, who hits the bigger shots. They both have show-stopping power, so it should be interesting. It's a tough one, but they're kind of equal on everything else. I'm going to go with the experience. Kai just fought a 5-round fight. Kai's fought all the elite competition. So I'm going to go with Kai Kara-France. It's pretty even money, basically. So yeah. The whole fight to go under 3.5 rounds plus 125. I don't hate that one. It might go over. I wouldn't be surprised. But under 3.5, don't blink. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. Thanks for rocking with me. Like, share, subscribe. Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all that stuff. Leave a comment down below. Ask me some questions. Help me as well, because I know I need some help. And I really want to get back on track. I did my research. It just sucks at trying to focus in and hone in on picking just one fight at a time and who I really think is going to win. Not just based on odds. Not just I got to take somebody because the odds are really stacked for me. Who I think is going to win and why and under what circumstances. But yeah, should be a fun fight. Let's see some upsets. Let's see some violence. And let's see some profits. Good luck, everyone.